Hello, welcome to the Asian Dating Podcast. Today I have Monique Lee with me, and Monique owns Seattle Love Broker. It is ranked #1 by Google and Yelp as the best relationship advisor and matchmaker in Seattle and Washington State, after being voted as one of the top matchmakers in Washington State 3 years in a row by King 5 TV's Best of Western Washington. Monique is a relationship advisor and matchmaker. She helps singles find love. She works with some of the most attractive, educated, successful, cultured, and professional singles in the region. A former wealth manager and an elite national investment powerhouse, Monique understands the value of time and money. More money can be made, but time can never be recovered. Welcome to the show, Monique. How are you today?
I'm doing well, and thank you for having me, May.
It's always fun to see a familiar face. Before we started recording, Monique and I have been partnering up and matching clients together for I don't even know how many years, but we've
At
never
least.
been on Zoom or FaceTime before. So this is actually my first time meeting you.
Yeah.
And we've had many, many hours of phone conversation. So this is really a special treat for me. I mean, when
It,
do I get to talk to what is it, a Mensa and a matchmaker, right? Like that's what we kind of talked about. Like you're like a brainiac. And how do you bring that to your business and what you do? And how is that relating to the clients you work with?
well, first of all, thank you for that lovely introduction. I appreciate it. And I feel like I've known you for like the time that we collaborated and match our clients, talking over time. And I must say, before I answer your question, that, May has what I sometimes feel like I lack. She has that touch of common sense and know how to relate to people in ways that sometimes I feel like I could improve upon. So, kudos to that before we go to my Mensa kind of crowd. I'm a thinker, and I relate to my clients. Earlier you asked me what kind of clients tend to work I tend to work with and tend to tune into my service. And most of my clients are very educated, lots of degrees. I only have a bachelor, so many times, if a less well-read person would have been intimidated by some of my clients, but having that education, and I love reading, and I enjoy learning from a very young age. So I've always absorbed information so I can relate and understand, even if I didn't have the formal education and the advanced degree initial next to my name. But the clients who talk to me, recognize certain things about me that they could trust and relate to. So that Mensa thing. Sometimes people bring it up. I've been a Mensa member for since 2001. And do you know what Mensa International is?
No, tell me more.
Okay. So I've discovered Mensa by accident. So back then I was managing money at Smith Money as a wealth manager there. And my cousin introduced me to this CFO at his company in California, of all places. And the CFO asked me, okay, so you seem smart. Christian, my cousin, spoke highly of you. But I don't know how smart you really are, and this is a lot of money to hand over to someone so young to manage. I'm a Mensa member. If you go take the test and you pass, I will let you manage my money. And so I'm like, oh, this whole Mensa thing is new to me. I read up on it. I'm like, well, I always know I'm smart, but top 2 percentile of the world, I wonder if I would make it, right? So I went and took the test. It was a 3 hour proctored test. I'm the only person, test taker in the room with a proctor at this institution. And I thought there would be more people there, but there was just me and the proctor for 3 hours. And they test me on logic and, bunch of multiple choice. And Then at the end, they said, okay, 2, 3 weeks later, you get some words from us. So apparently I passed, and I wanted to find out my score, right? I want to see where I rank, but they won't tell me that. They said, um, you get only get pass fail. We don't want any comparison among our members, and so you're in the top 2 percentile, and that's all you get to know. And you can join our Mensa um, club, local Seattle Mensa, to socialize with the other brainiacs. So I'm like, okay, well, of course, the prospective clients are happy that I passed the Mensa test, and he let me manage his portfolio. Wall Smith. I'm not managing his money anymore, but that's who got me to take the Mensa test.
And how long ago was that?
2001, long time
2001.
ago.
Are you
Yeah.
still a part of that association and Seattle folks? You still mingle with them and
Well, I've been busy with children since 2004 until now, so I've
yeah.
not been really socializing with them. But yeah, I did go to their meetings and gathering for a time. I've moved on and joined the National Women's Political Caucus. So after Mensa, I joined the Women's Political Caucus here. So I got involved with learning about politics and law and all that, as you
And
might know.
and how does that help you with your job or your business today? How does that help you as an entrepreneur?
So I think you may have seen on my website that I have a radio show called Afternoons with Monique. And the show features a lot of the people that I've known from that past. Over the course of 30 years, 30 or so years living in Washington, I've gone to school here, University of Washington. I've studied business school, and then after that, with that business degree, I worked and made a lot of great connections in the city of Seattle. I didn't move around so much. So people in town seem to kind of know that, I'm the Asian stockbroker, young, just got out of college. So, I kind of was a little bit of a buzz in a certain circle in town. There's not a lot of women that work for the wirehouses, which is what they call the top level brokerages, like, Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, Smith Barney. So those are top tier investment houses. And there's just not that many 20 something years old that was going to work there for years and years like I did. So people kind of know me as the young, cute single girl that just got in with the big investment warehouse. And so I made a lot of great contacts with people that later became movers and shakers in town. The mayor, I've known him now. The current mayor is uh, Bruce Harrell. I know him when he was an attorney running a firm. He 17 years ago. I met him and we became friends, and I interviewed him on my radio show before his win as the mayor now today in Seattle. And then I met a lot of great business leaders and political leaders just over, socializing, business contacts, introductions, things like that. So it really helped expand the kind of cross section of society that I get exposed to. I know some political people, some legal people, finance people. I came from that world, accounting people, and artists and music. I'm also I was a opera club member or ticket holder, season ticket holder. So I dabble in the arts a little bit because it's important to be well rounded. So yeah, I mean uh, it helped me to connect people from different paths of life. And recently with my daughter being in the pageant world, so now I made a bunch of contacts in that world too. The modeling pageants. So she's currently Miss Seattle Teen USA 2022. So it's kind of helped bring all these different um, maybe for some people, maybe they don't need to expose themselves to so many careers, professions. But I feel like as a matchmaker or as a networker, I think it's kind of good to know a variety of different professions. So it really helped with matchmaking, which is what
So,
I do right now.
right, right. So would you say that as a single person, that they
Mhm.
should also dabble in different clubs and organizations that they normally wouldn't, not your typical hiking, biking, running club, but expand and do something unique so then you're meeting different people and more people that you normally wouldn't meet in real life. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Well,
yeah.
that is something I choose to do for myself because I enjoy that. But with people that are not as adventurous or they like their kind of profession or their kind of hiking group, I just say do what you enjoy doing. You know, I do this because I like it. I,
Right.
I'm happy doing it. I don't feel like it's a drag, so I do it because I enjoy it. But if let's say somebody like to read, join a book club. Those people like their solitude, and I love to read too. So I really also enjoy my solitude, my alone time, and reading. But on the other hand, I really enjoy meeting new people. So for the social people, yeah, hiking group and dance clubs and places that you enjoy, I would encourage my clients to go and explore.
Would you say that they should join maybe two or three clubs? Like, is there,
As a matchmaker, would I
yeah,
recommend that my
right.
clients join them? Oh yeah, I told my clients to not just rely on the matchmaker, but also double, triple the resources that I provide, the coaching and the guidance that I provide, amplify it with their own actions, put it to practice. Go out there when you go rock climbing, which you enjoy doing, say hello to the girls that are waiting at the rock and smile at them and ask them afterwards. Everyone is tired from all that exertion to go grab a bite to eat, go for a drink. Be social, because like I told you, a lot of my clients are kind of bookish. They are smart and capable individuals, but they sometimes they can be shy, or if they assert themselves because they lack practice, sometimes they might overshoot or undershoot, so they're not comfortable. Sometimes they feel awkward. So my role is to go in and practice with them and make them comfortable in new surroundings.
So you actually do like a mock date with them? Like you actually go out and be a wing woman with them? Like how do you practice with them?
I used to do that, but now I have clients I got to take care of, and there are other things that I do that takes up a lot of my time. So yeah, I used to go shopping with them, go to parties or invite them to parties with me,
Mhm.
just to give them the exposure that I feel like they need. Lately, I've been very busy with different projects with the radio show, making contact and keeping my relationships warm with all the local contacts that I just didn't have as much time. But yeah, I encourage them to go out there. Sometimes I might pair them up, two guys of similar age. They can go and support each other, for example. And I had guys that became best friends
Mhm.
from my introduction. So I didn't just make matches, romantic matches, but the two guys that I set up to meet and go party or go socialize and clubbing together, they became the best of friends.
So
Amos, I'm talking about you.
how do you help somebody who's more of an introvert, like a book, more bookish? How do you suggest they go out and socialize? I mean, if you just go to a book club, you read on your own, then you meet. Like, do they
Yeah,
go to like a co-ed book club? Do you know what I mean? Like, so they can meet
I
people of
do.
the opposite sex?
I do encourage them to get out of their shell and go out there, encourage them to say hi to people on the way to work or coffee shop that they visit. People at work, sometimes people are shy about meeting people at work, but these are opportunities. Obviously, some work environment and some level, some career with high level of responsibilities, you cannot do that. But if you're an engineer and you're young, you're 30 something, you're looking at prospective girlfriends and future wives, you don't have that high level of responsibility yet. It's not like you're director level or CEO, CFO, and would have to worry about sexual harassment just yet. Appropriate to say hello. It's appropriate to get to know people and befriend people. Don't just, act creepy about dating right away. Just get to know people. And then, if they warm up to you, ask them out.
Yeah.
Invite them to go get coffee, popcorn, and Netflix. If you are in an apartment or a condo building, you see people in the elevator, say hello to people, just be friendly.
Yeah. I always go back to people like being invited. People like being included. So you might think, oh, I'm shy, I don't really have anything to offer somebody, but that's not true. It's everybody feels appreciated when they're invited to do something. So it could be something as simple as, oh, hey, I'm just going to get coffee. Do you want to come with me? Or I was just going to walk down to grab some bananas at the store. Do you want to come with me? Like just the
Yeah.
invitation of a small gesture can really lead to
Mm-hmm.
something amazing, whether you're making platonic friends or you want to make romantic friends, like these little gestures really add up. And like you said, like for someone who's an introvert, like just keep doing it, keep practice doing it. Cause I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't start off as an extrovert my whole life. I started off as a really shy person in high school or elementary school. And it wasn't until college that I started branching out. So yeah, I mean, I like that idea where you just invite people to do things. And if they say no, then they say no. But if they say no 2 times, then you could give them a hard time, like, hey, the next time I invite you, you better say yes, or I'm not going to invite you anymore. So
Right, right.
yeah.
Well, one thing about people that are bookish or intellectual type is that they are comfortable taking um, advancing in the comfortable zone they're in, which is the career ambition and the advancement in academics. But they're not willing to take chances in the area that they're not comfortable in, which is making connections, saying hello, and try to reach out and pull people into your realm because it's a fun unfamiliar, it's risk taking.
Right.
So that's the thing that I bring up to my more shyer, more less adventurous clients, that is that risk taking in love, willing to take some chances and expand your horizon, get out of your comfort zone. That those are the things that I want them to try with the safety of my guidance next to them, co-piloting. I'm available to ask questions and seek guidance. So, if we work together, you should really make the most of your time with me to go out there, make mistakes, come back, learn the right way to do things, and go back out there. Nobody can dance the first time perfectly just because you watch an instructor on the dance floor. You're going to fail a couple of times before you get it good, right? So, if you expect to hit it straight out of the park the first time you hit the ball, that's too much pressure on yourself, and it makes for a very, very stressful situation for them, right?
I agree. I agree. So you're in Seattle. How do you think Seattle's dating is different than other cities? Do you hear like stereotypes that people think, oh, it's
Mm-hmm.
this in Seattle. It's so tough to do this. Like, what are some of the stigmas with dating in Seattle, if any?
So Seattle is has what is known as the Seattle freeze. And what that is, and it's been talked about in the newspaper. You Google Seattle freeze, you can read about it. Even there's a New York Post article that Call Me, the author wrote about the Seattle freeze, and Amazon guys dating, and we talked about that. And what that is they believe that it's very hard to make friends and build connections in Seattle because people tend to be very courteous, polite, but cold. And they put up walls. Past this wall, you cannot pass this wall. You can stay out here in the foyer and I'll be polite, but I just don't feel comfortable unless you're my kind of people, kind of, a barrier. So people do put up barriers in Seattle to let people in. But Seattle dating is unique. And you have to understand weather does affect people's mood. If you are in California where it's warm and people are in the, you know, festive mood to connect, to say hello, they it's easier for them to make friends. When people are holed up into their home because it rains a lot, and Seattle rains 9 months out of the year. It's true, we have a lot of rain here. If you don't go out there socially on a regular basis, it is hard to maintain that deep connections that's needed to build a strong relationship. So knowing the anatomy of a friendship and a relationship helps. If you understand that people are whole up and they don't come out, reach out, go over there and hang out with them, invite them to go to coffee shop. I mean, do it every once in a while, don't overdo it, because Seattle people have their routine. They have a certain rhythm of their lives here. And I can always tell when someone came from California. I feel it like that. I'm like, I can spot a Californian and they'll be like, how do you know that? How do you know these things? I'm very intuitive about different things. Like I can guess people professions. I don't have to guess people's income. I know what people make. I don't even have to tell me. Just tell me that your education. I talk to you a little bit. I know what you're getting paid. Don't worry. So I'm very intuitive, and combined with the knowledge that I gained from all my reading, it makes for a very potent matchmaker that I'm scared to give out my personal information, because if somebody like me is getting that information, they know what to do. They're very effective with their knowledge, and that much knowledge, that you give out can be dangerous in the wrong hands. As we know with the whole internet, leaking of information with the companies, you know, um, different companies have security pack being hacked, and then they get the social security number and professional addresses. Well, in my world, it may not be that deep. I don't need to know your social security, but I have a good brain and I can interpret data. I can, just from minimal information, derive all kinds of branch out about who you are, because I know how to interpret information, you know?
So the people who are in Seattle, you're saying it rains 9 months out of the year. So how do they date then? Like, what are some tricks and secrets that can help people date more effectively and efficiently and more meaningful? Like, what do you suggest, knowing what you know now as a matchmaker?
Well, if you are a self starter and you like to take initiative, take chances, and online dating is I don't say anything bad negative about online dating. I think it's a great tool, an avenue for people to meet others. However, what is at times become a problem is that people don't know how to vet people. They don't understand that online dating can be such a time sucker. It suck a lot of our time away. So many of my clients leverage my expertise to go and find appropriate matches for them. And I don't know if you, I think I may have mentioned this to you. I know about online dating since 1997, right? I'm like an old timer of online dating. Back when, do you remember me telling you this
Yeah.
a little
Go
bit
ahead.
ago?
Yeah.
Like, I was in college, and there's this and we didn't have pictures in our email yet. Emails is just black and white dot screen with white words on a black screen. And then at this University of Washington, there's an internet relay chat. In that, there's a college dating category, and I venture into that, which is the precursor of Match.com. This is when and Facebook. because this is 1997. I think Mark Zuckerberg was still in middle school, so there's no Facebook yet. But this is where college was where it took place, right? I met a lot of great educated people online across state line. Ivy Leaguers from I'm still friends with a few of the contacts that I made, but back then, it's kind of an exclusive little group. Um, and everyone is on there is attending great colleges, accredited college. So it's a certain filter, of society, in order to be on these forum in this forum, you have to be at least pass an exam and be in college. So, but there's so like 1,000 or 800 people, and it's back then dial up. It takes forever to talk to people. Do you remember the internet relay chat of
Yeah. Yeah.
and AOL?
AOL. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, it takes forever. But I was able to meet a few pretty quality, great people from there. And I've always have my fingers on the whole internet dating. So I say internet dating is not the evil that many people make it out to be. However, it does take a lot of time. And if I was an executive, high level, I wouldn't put myself on that. Number one is a time waster for them. Hire out, get that outsource, get somebody else to do it for you. Second, everybody with an internet connection with a smartphone can be on these sites. So there's massive amount of people, and you have to vet through 90% of those people to get to the 10% potential that fit your criteria. So that could get very tiresome for some
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
But the other way to meet people is just join social clubs,
Yeah.
you know, um, like Bravo, the Young Oprah patrons club, or hiking groups, athletic groups, soccer groups, athletic groups, or a gym is where people don't like to be contacted, but just like anywhere, work, if you can't say hi to some of the people, you don't take chances. If you're afraid people are going to laugh at you or say something mean to you, well, couple down might be hard for you to come by because rejection is a part of life. You can
Yeah.
meet people anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, it's as simple as going to the grocery store to meet somebody, right? I mean, there are places that your opposite sex hangs out at a lot, and you just have to be adventurous. I mean, I feel bad for people who are total hermits and don't want to leave their house and don't want to do online dating. Like, that's tough, to not choose any avenue or one avenue to find people. So, yeah, dating is, I think online dating is great, because where else are you going to get like a salad bar of all these people, different types of
Right?
people, and click your preferences and you narrow it down. And I mean, my biggest
It's a
advice
lot of
for
chit chat.
people, what's that?
Yeah. It's a lot of chit chat, and it's
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
time wasting. I
right.
tell you, if I didn't do what I do for a living, and if I have to date online, I mean, I'm getting paid to do it for people, and I sometimes get very, very frustrated,
Yeah,
right? But I would tell you, the average person who doesn't know how to vet people, doesn't know how to get straight to the point,
right.
uh, doesn't understand that you don't want to be texting people for weeks or months
I know.
without meeting, fall in love with them. I have people come to me and say, I just met the most wonderful man, and he's, unfortunately, I never had a chance to meet him yet, but he's in an oil rig. I'm like,
Yeah.
do not send
Sounds like a
money.
scam, right?
Yeah,
Sounds
don't
like a
send any
scam,
money. That's the first thing
right?
come out of my mouth,
Right.
you
No,
know.
I feel the same way. Like, if you're doing online dating and you're exchanging text messages back and forth for like a day or two, you
Mhm.
need to just meet. If you're in the same city, you just meet,
Mhm.
If you're not in the same city, then you can do a video call like this, like a 15
Mhm.
minute video call can tell you so
Yeah.
much about that person.
Mhm.
And maybe you do another one and then you find a way to meet, like it
Right.
shouldn't be this texting back and forth for like months. Like you're not looking for a pen pal. And
Right.
chances are it's a scam if they can't today's technology and they can't jump on a video call with you. That's
Mhm.
not good news. That's just
Right.
bad news. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And really listen to what the other person has to say.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will tell you exactly what you need to know, but if you're enamored with how they look or how they sound, you have this preconceived notion of who they are instead of who they really are, and not listening to what they're telling you, and interpret that information, you could end up getting hurt,
Yeah.
or getting scammed.
Yeah. Yeah. When you were dating, did you date long distance? Like what is your advice for people to open up their parameters when it comes to distance? Like, do you did you put a,
Limit on
yeah, limit
how
on
far.
your distance?
Um, it's been a very long time. I only had one long distance relationship and it didn't last. And that was with my college boyfriend who was in my town when we first met and dated for a year and a half. And he graduated and had to go back to his hometown to, be with his family. And we tried the long distance thing for a while. It didn't work out. So long distance is not for the faint of heart. But remember, this was a long time ago, before Zoom, before internet, email, and video chat and constant availability. Um, Back then, every phone call cost 10 cents a minute. If you talk a lot, it's gonna cost you a lot of money. So, but now we don't have those restrictions anymore. So still, without the physical contact, you got to see each other and build that bond. I would say, long distance is not sustainable for most people. I mean, you do need to plan to come closer. If you do meet each other long distance, you should meet and then you should plan and plot to get to each other's place one way or another to build that real, live connection.
Yeah. I mean, I
Being
feel
in
like
each other's life.
long distance is good for two people who are super busy, but they are planners. But
Yeah.
eventually, one person has to move to the
Mm-hmm.
other place. Like if you're going to be dating someone long distance, you need to take into the consideration that, okay, I might need to move there. I might need to move to Vegas. I might need to move to Seattle. I might need to move to New York. Or otherwise, don't be talking to somebody that you know is a dead end, right? Like unless they know they need to move to you, they have to move to Colorado or have to move to
Right.
Los Angeles, then that might be an option. But yeah, I feel like it's good for people that are busy, that can plan things out, and I guess more adventurous, right? Or
Yeah.
yeah,
Dating with a purpose is important because, okay, you're looking at the movie stars, right? They have different projects in different cities. And many times you read in the news that, oh, so and so split up because they never spend any time in the
right,
same city together. And, again, when you are separated like that, the other people, there are opportunities that pop up. You meet other people. If they're any attractive, if at all, they're going to meet someone else. And that kind of compete with the tenuous relationship that you currently have with that person. So
right,
that's why bonding and strengthening that bond is important. But then again, you know, there's a very interesting phenomenon that I observe in America. When I peruse online dating, many people will say, I see them write, oh, my life's perfectly good. I don't need anybody. I just want to have somebody in my life. I find that very curious because what I have observed is that people who just want someone in their life, I feel like their bond is not very strong. And the strongest bonding pairing tend to come from those that have the need to have somebody that is complementary to what their life is right now. Um, let's say if somebody who have a strong need for companionship or sex or intellectual stimulation conversations, they need to be with someone like that to live their best lives. And if they don't get it, it's not just a want, it's a need.
Right.
I feel that way when I'm missing it, and I own my need. I recognize that that is something that I owe to the other person to provide to me. I acknowledge it. I don't pretend like it's not worth anything,
Right.
you know? So I feel like having that courage to own what it is that you need and want, and express what it is that you need to the other person is not making you vulnerable, but it makes you uh self, I want to use the word actualize. Um, what's another word? You know, uh that hierarchy of need, Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
Uh-huh.
you know, the needs for survival. Once you get past that, there's a certain need to be acknowledged, to be appreciated, and then self-actualization. Well, the middle layer, the need to be recognized, or to know oneself, you know, I think it's important to own it
Yeah.
and accept that you're human. You don't, you know, maybe you have sufficient need to survive and live a comfortable place. But I think the Bible, someone said that men don't live on bread alone. We have a spiritual part that needs to be fulfilled,
Yeah.
right? And it's not a small need. It's, to some people, those needs are big
Yeah.
and it needs to be fulfilled, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm
that's
really
my
glad
opinion.
that you brought that up because in the 14 years that I've been doing matchmaking, I would say the people that I have the most success with, that I end up pairing them off with somebody, are the ones who come to me and say, May, I really want to find somebody. I want to find a wife. I want to
Right.
find a husband. Like
They
those
have
are the ones,
conviction.
right? The people who say that that's what they want, and to
Mhm,
say it out loud and to ask for it and to admit that they want that, are the
mhm.
ones that I have the most success with in finding
Same.
love.
They're
Yeah.
motivated.
Right.
They're ready, you know. They
Yeah.
have arrived to the place where they are ready to receive
Right.
and accept and appreciate the relationship that they find.
Right. Right. And you're right. The ones who come and say, well, I just want to date around, or I
Yeah,
don't need somebody. I don't need a man in my life. I'm like, then why are
right.
you in my office? Like, why are
Yeah,
we talking if you don't
yeah,
need a man in your life? Like,
right,
are you going to have that same attitude on a date? If you're on a date and you say that, the guy is going to be totally turned off. Like, they're not going to
right,
want to continue dating you if you don't even want a man in your life. Like, if you have
right,
a flat tire, are you going to change it yourself, or are you going to try to ask the guy to change it and let
right.
him be the man and let him make some decisions? I mean, it's
Mhm.
not giving up your anything, identity or anything, just to allow the man to be a man or to say you want a man in your life. So, yeah,
Well, you know, being living life with a purpose is a need that most of us have. We all want to have purpose in our lives and meaning to our lives. There's a yearning in us that wants to be fulfilled in that regard. And when a person come across someone that don't feel like they're contributing, or I'm capable of doing all those changing tire. If I want to learn how to, you know, put in a dimmer in my condo, or you know, fix a sink, I'm sure I can learn. I figured a lot of things out. But we live in a very specialized society where everyone is got to be good at something very specific to, you know, who they are, that you try to be a jack of all trade and don't need anybody. um, you become self-sufficient, but your unit is smaller,
right.
and it'll be a unit of one, and that you're competing with people with two units. They're going to have more purchasing power. They're going to have more time between the two of them. So there is strength to be had in couplehood,
Yeah, I
really,
agree.
right?
I agree.
So you want to be self-contained by the unit at one, that's one thing. But if you want to compete and be, you know, be among the stronger, more coupled people, I mean, some people can only afford one, so I shouldn't say that that's a negative thing. Not everybody can afford to have the relationship they want, so I'm not saying that it's bad to not have that. But I'm just comparing objectively. If one unit, one individual that can do a lot of things. Not very well at any of them, but enough to get by. And then two people highly specialized. One make amazing meal, the other one know how to fix a car, for example. They're gonna drive better cars, they're gonna
Yeah,
have better food.
right.
They just have better lives. So it's just a comparison that I make. But the good thing is we live in America. People can choose whatever they want. And if you want to be a self-contained unit, who am I to argue?
Well, Monique, thank you so much for joining me today. I will put all the information how someone can get in touch with you, but any parting words from you and how can people find you and what do you do? And yeah, I'll let you plug your business a little bit.
Well, if you want to find me, Google Seattle Love Broker. You'll find the website to my company. Afternoons with Monique is in its third year with 109 episodes under my belt. We'll restart soon. I am still formulating my guest list for 2023. So we don't have that published yet, but you can check out Afternoons with Monique.us that lists all of the past episodes for afternoons for my radio show. And I appreciate you inviting me to join you today, May.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And ladies, if you're listening, I'm always looking for fabulous Asian women to be part of my database. Please go to twoasianmatchmakers.com and click profile. And if there's men out there listening, if you're interested in becoming a client, I can actively search for you as well. So thank you so much, Monique, for joining me. And I will see you guys later. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.